talk about, let's see. I think we
Gold.
finished. What's that?
We have gold. Gold and
gold.
silver.
Oh, gosh. I knew we weren't done. Gosh, yeah. The gold and silver. How could we forget that shining thing here? Gold has done well, but silver, well, that has surged. Should you buy it now? I'm sure people thinking, yeah, I want to get in. I want to get in that silver trade. Silver is now up almost 200% last year alone, as it has become immensely popular with retail investors. Many investors are excited to point out that silver has a strong use case as an industrial metal. It is a key component in electronics, including circuit boards, switches, and solar panels, thanks to the fact that it's an excellent conductor of electricity.
Yeah, thanks to increasing demand for areas such as EVs or electric vehicles, and also growing electricity needs, largely due to the AI push, industrial use cases now account for around 60% of demand. This does compare to under 50% just a decade ago. I was also surprised to learn that silver may be subject to supply shortages. About 3/4 or 3/4 of new silver is actually created as a byproduct of mining other metals like copper, zinc, and lead. So it's not even people mining directly for silver. This has led to silver demand outstripping supply every year since 2018.
And things will change. And while this all sounds positive, generally markets have a way of reconfiguring the supply and demand equation. I believe this could lead to companies that have silver as an input cost will instead look for other sources, alternative sources, as the price has become prohibitive at the recent surge has happened here. This would hurt demand for silver. So things change, and this is what people don't realize. You can't invest in something thinking that because it did this over the last 6 months, it will go that for the next 6 months. Things change because it's, especially when demand, people say, oh, well, silver is better than gold because there's a demand for it. Yeah, there is, but that demand will change as prices go up.
Again, 60% is coming from use cases, and people might point to that as a benefit and why we should be buying silver. But as a business, if you have a cost of a product or an input cost, I should say, go up 200%, that could all of a sudden wipe out your profits. Either one, you might have to stop producing a product because it's no longer profitable, or two, you're going to say, could I use a different conductor of electricity? And that's 60% of demand for silver all of a sudden gets reduced. That could be a big, big problem. And then on the other side is the supply side. And since the economics of finding silver is strong at this time, you could see more mining for silver and, again, those other metals. So you could actually have a glut maybe of copper, zinc, lead, because people are going to say, I'm going to keep mining for these because I find silver and I can sell it at such a great price. So, again, you could see that increase the supply of silver. Not to mention, I don't know the accuracy behind this, but, people have talked about, should I melt down my silverware? The thing is, the spot price of silver, you might not be able to get that. But if that truly was the case, and my fork that I bought for $2 is now worth $10, yeah, I'm selling my silverware set.
Right.
So this creates declining demand and increasing supply, and that would obviously be problematic for the price of silver.
And also, too, I mean, the commissions that I've seen on commodities is always very high. Or you might go to a pawn shop. I mean, you're not going to get that. Well, it was 125. Big pullback yesterday on silver. I think it was down 20% was it?
No, 25. Yeah.
25%. So it's just like,
I was going to say, it's funny so we initially did this post on social media. I think we did it on Thursday. So the 1 year gain on silver was like 260%. And this is what people don't understand about compounding, right? Is it makes bigger numbers bigger, right. But also when that decline happens, those bigger numbers get smaller faster. So the 1 year return on silver, and it was adjusting throughout the day, so we kind of rounded at the 200% gain. The 1 year is now 162%. So we went from over a 250% 1 year gain to now 162% 1 year gain.
It almost sounds like 100%. It's not 100% loss, but a decline of 100%
your profits.
in your profits. Yeah, and and that scares people. And they're like, oh, I better get out. It's over. So we'll see what happens on Monday. But and again, this whole run up I think happened very quickly and for no reason. And I think, could this be the end? This is what we've been talking about for weeks, if not months. So you got to be careful with these commodities.
Yeah, and there was a commodity expert analyst on CNBC, and they called it the memization of precious metals.
Like with stocks?
Yeah, with gold and silver, these quote-unquote conservative assets should not be seeing gains of 70, 200% in a year.
That 25% a day.
Yeah, that is not conservative investing. That is no different than Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. I mean, it's almost worse.
And actually, I did hear that. I think gold, last 5 years had a better return than Bitcoin did last 5 years. So things are kind of changing. So I tell you, be careful. Another way to look at the value of silver is the silver to gold ratio, which tells you how many ounces of silver you need to buy 1 ounce of gold. The 50-year average is around 65 times, but today that ratio has fallen to below 60. That's the lowest ratio in over a decade. Ultimately, your guess, well, I gotta say, is as good as mine for where the top for silver is, but long term, I don't believe we'll see strong results from this level. Big returns on silver. I think the end could be near.
Yeah, and again, since silver fell so much more than gold, that ratio was actually below 50
Yeah.
prior to Friday, and then it flipped very, very quickly. So things can adjust. And again, you got to remember here, this is a volatile asset with other historical instances of massive rallies that were followed by large declines. We have talked about the Hunt brothers' attempt to corner the market in the 80s, but more recently there was a bubble that occurred in 2011. The price peaked at around $49 in April of that year, but quickly tumbled about 25% in just a week. Kind of funny, we had that 25% decline in just a day this time around. But it may not always be a buying opportunity, as if we look back to 2011, it ultimately ended the year at $27 for a total decline of nearly 45% from the high. So again, we could see silver topped around, I think, 110. If it goes down 50%, I mean, you'd be right at 55.
Damn, I think I missed the boat. I was going to go tomorrow to the pawn shop and unload some of my silverware, but I guess I won't do that now.